Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook. Sign up now for a $20 free bet. Just use the code IFLTV24. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Oscar Bevis for IFL TV. Tom, it's good to see you, my man. Pleasure. Happy New Year. As we're a week into 2024 now. How's life?
Yeah, it's good, mate. It's good. It's getting cold outside now, so the big jackets are coming out. I hope you had a good New Year's and Christmas and that as well, Oscar. We're here, mate. Start of a fresh slate, a new year. I'm looking forward to moving forward now.
Yeah, as a boxer, you've got experience and fights behind you now, and you're growing month on month, let alone year on year. But when a new year starts, do you kind of have that fresh slate feel? Because you kind of can't dismiss what's been done before, but I guess as a new year starts, you kind of feel a little bit new and fresh in yourself.
I always said, from amateur and professional, if I'm in a better place this time next year, I'll carry on. If I'm in a worse place, then I'll look to get out, and so far with that sort of mindset, I'm progressing every year, every year is whether I've had bumps in the road or not, I've overcome things and I'm in a better place every year. So when that year, I think I had 5 fights last year, or 4 fights last year, 2 stoppages, 2 points. So I'm in a very good place now, and the opponents are getting tougher and everything's moving forward, and I'm in the best shape of my life, and everything seems to be now settling in place. So yeah, I'm happy, and moving into this year, we've got some goals wrote down, we've got plans, and it's time to execute them.
Yeah, before we talk about the plans and goals for 2024, I want to talk about the last 2 that you had in 2023. Obviously, I was there after your fight in Brighton, and to kind of tick that off and have that moment, just kind of, I guess, as like a bit of a bucket list. I know it will probably happen again, and in bigger fights, but just to have that, I know that was kind of a big moment for you and the family and the team.
Yeah, no, it was a massive moment to fight in Brighton, my hometown, where I put all my work in here, for years, and I've always had many people behind me asking, when do we get to see you fight in Brighton? When? And I know obviously I wasn't headlining the show, but I felt like I was headlining the show the way the atmosphere was for my fight. There was a couple of fights before. They weren't the most exciting fights. They were solid fights, but they weren't the most exciting fights. And then I feel like they warmed the crowd up just right. So when I come out and, I dropped the guy in the first round twice, and sort of there was a little bit of a rocky fight going on where it was like back and forth. He was giving it, he was being a bit dirty, and, we had an exciting fight, and the crowd absolutely, were on their feet, as you see for yourself as well, so give me a chance and they'll be there, they'll be behind me, and I was privileged enough to have that opportunity, and we took it with both hands, and we performed, so yeah.
The most important thing, England beat Argentina, as we said on the night, so there you go. And then you had a fight in Dubai as well, to finish the year against a guy with a solid record as well. Talk to me about that experience. I know you fought everywhere. I mean, we spoke about you in COVID, going about to find your opportunities. It's not uncommon for there to be shows in Dubai. Just kind of talk to me about the experience to finish the year in Dubai.
Well, I mean, obviously we had the fight in Brighton, and it was like, do we go quiet now until next year, or do we try and fit one more in and, sort of strike while the iron's hot for us, We've had to take opportunities whenever they've come, really, and, this is an opportunity. We work closely with the Eubank, set up, and it was them that were sort of, to do with that camp that were putting their show on in Dubai, and there was a chance there for us to get on, and we ended up headlining the show, and it was great, to be honest. It was all a little bit, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And then when it happened, sort of the mindset, luckily I'd already fought 2 weeks prior to that. I was fighting a 7-0 guy with 5 knockouts, which would have been, perfect. We got to the weigh-in scales, and something happened, and the opponents changed, and I ended up fighting he was from, where was he from, do you know? Where was the kid from? Was he? It was like Uzbekistan or something like that. yeah, I can't remember where he was from, but he had 30 fights, won 24, 22 knockouts and 6 losses. So he was a much more experienced guy. He was an Olympian for his country as an amateur. He'd beaten an Olympic gold medalist as an amateur. So, you know, we knew we was up against it. He'd fought prior to me 2 weeks as well. So we was both coming off a similar thing, and he had a TKO. I didn't want to be in there too long because I knew, you know, I was there to do my work. Brighton, I was enjoying myself in the ring. You know, I probably should have got him out a lot earlier, and I could have done, but I got caught up enjoying myself with the crowds and stuff, whereas Dubai, it was work mode. Really, I just got out there and I blew him out in the rounds, you know. I just didn't let him sort of get started. It wasn't my intention, it just sort of happened, you know. The atmosphere of everything just sort of brought the beast out in me, really.
Well, it's a good win, a great win, and a perfect way to finish 2023. So now we look into 2024. You mentioned the goals and the things that you've written down. I know you kind of can't be too open in boxing sometimes because I guess everyone kind of, they might pretend they don't, but everyone is kind of listening in parts. But you're a WBC top 15 ranked Bridgerweight, which counts for quite a lot. Are we going to see you fight for some form of WBC Bridgerweight strap in 2024?
I mean, that would be the ideal plan, definitely. You know, green and gold, baby. There's no better colour.
It is the belt, innit? It is the belt, mate. It's got everything. It's got the history. It's the best looking belt, if we're being honest. Yeah, I know it's obviously one that you want to get your hands on.
It's a beautiful belt, I'll be honest, you know. And my dad fought for a WBC belt, an international. You know, he's the ambassador he's the chairman of the CARES in the UK, which is, so we have a very close tie to it, and it's always been a thing that I would love to be a part of, you know, myself, not my dad, but me, you know, like I am part of the WBC family, and I fought and earned my stripes in that sense. So for me, that's a major box ticker for me, is to get one of these belts around my waist, definitely. Yeah. Actually, going back to the Dubai fight, so I ended up staying over there with the missus for a few more days just to sort of unwind while I was out in the beautiful hot weather. I thought, oh, you know, I nick a few days as like a little holiday break after two good wins. I stumbled across a couple of guys walking around in some boxing like passes, and I got talking to them when I was like, oh, is there a fight going on? Like, what's happening? And they were like, Kosovian, so they didn't speak much English, yeah. And I was like, oh, having a bit of a crack with them on that. And the Lucas Brown fight was out in Dubai that night. The Bridgerweight, he boxed for the WBA Bridgerweight title there as well. And I went along, just ran by chance, stumbled across it, and ended up watching a whole night of Bridgerweight, heavyweights, and cruiserweight fights. And it was just like, wow, like, you know, when you're meant to be somewhere, I was there. Do you know what I mean? Watching, you know, the potential, you know, the WBA Bridgerweight champion, just, you know, he was an Olympian Russian guy, and you know, I watched it and I thought, wow, this is my weight, and I'd be in the mix with any of these guys. So yeah, I'm happy. Yeah.
I can imagine watching the guys at that level that you want to get to. I know obviously patience is a virtue, and there is an art in kind of just waiting until it's your time. But I know as the fighter you probably are just so keen and eager to just jump straight in and have these fights. But I guess there's obviously like an art to patience and wait until it is the right time.
Yeah, you know, my dad's got experience and he's guided me. If it was mine, I would have probably just jumped in the deep end a bit faster, you know. But them risking a lot more, do you know what I mean? And we know this game is not like football where you can win some, you lose some. You have to strategically build yourself up so you're ready for these fights, not just jumping in and taking them at a risk, whether it's money or whether it's whatever, you know. For us, this is more of a, you know, it's a family thing, we're all involved, and, you know, my dad, my cousin, my long loyal friend who I've grown up with, Ben Pringle, who, you know, we've got a team thing. It's not like it's a new thing, you know. We've always been around each other, we've always helped each other, and, you know, with that, we're going to just take our time and build the best we can, really. And you know, when the opportunities arise, we'll be ready for all of them. So
yeah, it's a good tight knit, solid bunch here, and I guess that will make your success kind of even more enjoyable. I just want to talk about kind of, I guess, something a lot more general in boxing. Obviously, you're a Bridgerweight now, but just kind of onto the heavyweights and the stuff that's going on in Saudi Arabia when I come down in the summer.
I'm a heavyweight,
Right.
straight heavyweight, and there's, an opening for me as a Bridgerweight because I am a smaller heavyweight. I've always fought heavyweights. I will continue to fight heavyweights, but as this road is opened up, it just makes sense for me to walk down it because I've only got to drop a few kilos and I'm there, So it's a blessing for me, but I am a heavyweight. I get to fight at this weight for now,
Well, I can word it like this then. Now you're watching the heavyweights do their thing in Saudi Arabia. Maybe Tommy Welch in Saudi Arabia in the near future?
I mean, absolutely, that would be the dream. That's where it's all moving to. It's gone from Vegas to London to Saudi, And
they're writing blank checks, let's be honest. Maybe this is right.
It all sounds great, It's just, it's good that they're putting these shows on around the world and all eyes are on boxing, and especially heavyweight boxing. The fights that have been happening have been fantastic. There's been some great upsets and the fight game seems to be alive again. It dips off and then it gets up again and then it dips and now the Saudis are behind it and they're putting bigger shows, they're putting music style shows on with fight, the full attraction. And it's crazy. Would I love to be on there? There's a bear shit in the woods.
Depends where he lives, but I get you.
That's true, yeah.
But no, it is a crazy time, and seeing as it's coming up in a couple of months, I've got to ask you, just like I've kind of got to ask everyone really for, I guess, a prediction or how you would see Joshua-Ngannou going. Something that, like I said, when I come to see you in June, we was talking Fury and Ngannou. We had that craziness, and now we talk Joshua-Ngannou. How on earth does that go, Tom?
Well, I think now we know what Ngannou is. We know he's a strong guy, and well, not we, but I mean everyone. The people can see what he is. Whereas I think Fury didn't really know what he was. He didn't probably expect him to be a solid contender. He thought he was just a big muscle-bound UFC guy. Hasn't really got good hands, and he proved differently. And he's earned his stripes. Do I think that fight was going to be next? Obviously, we wanted the Deontay fight versus Joshua. That's what everyone's been waiting for years, and that hasn't happened. Parker, put his best performance on and beat him. But I think Ngannou, Joshua, yeah, it's a good fight for the public, and I think Joshua's just had a good win, against Wallin, and I mean it was a much more improved performance to what we've seen in a little while. So I think he's got a little bit of spite back, which is what he's going to need, But I think Ngannou, see, the thing with Ngannou is coming to the game with nothing to lose. If he loses against these guys, well, he weren't a boxer anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, who cares? But when he wins, it's like, see, these UFC guys, they're mixing it with the boxers and beating them, I don't know, it's Joshua loses more if he doesn't come through that fight, So I hope he prepares properly.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook. Sign up now for a $20 free bet. Just use the code IFLTV24. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply.